Hello and welcome back to Organic Cardboard. My name is Owen Kniep, and today I'm over here at the PecktecGames Studios once again, as seems to be the theme of late. And,
Hello.
hello. And today there's a video I wanted to do several weeks back and just never got around to it. But this is hidden gems, games that I'm going to preface what I mean by hidden gems. These are games that are ones that that I've played that I really like. I don't know. Well, I own these games as well, and I don't know anybody else that has them. I don't see them ever getting taken out anywhere else. I have obviously heard more online about them because I've looked up information and learning the games and figuring out if I'm going to buy it or not. But yeah, they're basically just games that I think are excellent games. I just don't know of anybody that has, and haven't heard anybody really talking about in person. So yeah. So we got I got a handful of them to go through, about more or less 5 of them, and Sean's gonna about the same as well. So we're gonna go ahead and start with that.
There's a lot of games that come through that it's like, especially crowdfunding the way it is, it's just like exploding with games all the time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them that kind of slip through the cracks and stuff, and you're playing and like, why isn't everyone talking about this?
I don't know. Yeah, and they're usually not that expensive too. Like these
no one else you know
ones
bought it. No one else you know talks about it. Yeah.
These particular ones are ones that weren't terribly expensive to get either. So anyways, I'll go ahead and start us off. So the very first one's just a little small game here. I've got a whole bag of them sitting next to me. I brought all these games over to Sean's house, and then like I was like, I got a whole bunch of games we're not going to play.
We'll play one off the shelf here.
Just because I didn't feel like pulling up images. But this is Radlands. Radlands is obviously a pretty small box. It's a card game where it's like it's sort of a lane dueling game kind of thing where you're trying to reach the other person's outposts and destroy them. And you got like 3 of them, so you got 3 lanes, and you can have a couple characters in front of each lane to protect them, and you're kind of working your way past them or through them to get to those. It's kind of a post-apocalyptic theme. It's very inexpensive. It probably fully retails for probably around $20, and you can find it on sale for cheaper. There is a little bit more of a deluxe version. It's a little bigger. There's no reason to need that as well. But even with the core box, I've got the fairly recent expansion that came out for it crammed in here as well, and everything's sleeved in it. And you can kind of jam it in there. It's a little bit of lid lift with it. But it's a really fun game. I enjoy it. It's really fast. It says 20 to 40 minutes. That's probably pretty accurate with it. Some games can go really fast, just depending on how you play it out. But I like this one a lot. I bring it with me a lot of the times to the game store to have as a filler game. It's sort of to me it's sort of filler plus, but it is it's a
it's quick to pull out and set up, so you can kind of get a game going really quick. And I think that helps fill the void in there.
Yeah, sometimes I consider filler games to be like really light in the sense that there's like not much depth to it. There's a decent amount of strategic depth with this.
It's got to last long enough for your buddy to get off work and show up over the game store.
Yeah.
You've only showed up early because there's no parking.
Yeah. Right.
So you find somebody else to hang out and play this game with while you wait.
Exactly. Yeah, you're in between waiting for something bigger to get played. Yeah, fun game, great art. It's kind of got a neon theme art to it. But that's Radlands. If you haven't played it, you should check it out. I know they did a Game Nerd sale like 2 years ago, and I was going to buy a second copy of this to have to give away, and couldn't even grab it because it got taken so quickly. So I know people have this game. But
I see it in Barnes and Noble all the time.
Yeah, but I don't ever see anybody that has it. And
nobody's bringing it around.
Certainly nobody that's talking about it. But that's Radlands.
That's true. My first one, it kind of can take a long time. It's sort of a longer game, especially if you play maxed out at 6 players, which you could only do if you did the pre-order and got the. There's dust on it.
Dusty gems.
This is one of many games I have that feature Kurt Russell. It's called Big Trouble in Little China. It's gold because it's deluxe.
Is this based off of a movie of his then? I've heard that name. I've never
You
watched it.
should go watch tonight.
Is it silly?
Big Trouble. It's a little silly.
Okay.
Okay. What the unique thing about Big Trouble in Little China, without spoiling anything, is that the guy that thinks he's the hero of the story is the goofy sidekick.
Oh,
And so that's the kind of niche thing with it.
Oh.
But it's got lots of interesting stuff, a lot of classics. It really, of the films that he made in the 80s, this was one of the better ones.
Oh, okay.
I loved this.
I should go back and watch
I love Escape from New York too, though, for a different way. This is a little sillier, a little bit more fun. And the game is kind of that way too. So in the game, you've got one side of the board where you're trying to figure out what's going on with Lopan and what's happened. Your girlfriend's one of the main heroes' girlfriend's been abducted, and you got to get them back from gang members and stuff. So you go on little adventures and try to build up. Then something happens that kind of tips the game board over, and then on the other side of the board, you're going to be fighting Lopan and the three storms, and trying to get her back. So it runs a little long. But this is one of those things I got on a pre-order. It wasn't a crowdfunding thing. I got it way early. This was maybe the second review I did on my channel.
Oh wow!
This goes all the way back to the beginning of my this channel or my channel.
I've certainly never heard of anybody else talk about this game. So yeah, it's certainly hidden.
Hidden gem.
And it's shiny, just like a gem.
A two-player, I think a two-player, we could probably lock this out pretty quick. Especially, and now I've learned so much more about board games. Like I've literally bought every game you see behind you since I bought this one. So it's an oldie but a goodie for me now. It's ancient,
Very cool.
2018.
Yeah, old games. Yeah. So I've got a game that I heard about from the Gamecasters, which is a board game podcast.
Oh yeah,
and it's an awesome podcast. If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out. They're a little raunchy, so be aware of that. But it's a funny trio of people that do it. This is Bamboo, and Bamboo's made by DeVere Games. This is I want to say it came out a couple years ago, maybe. So this is in their Kamushi saga. So this has kind of got the same universe as like their Japanese spirit theme, like with Batoku, and they did Silk.
All those folks did the same. Did those games?
Yeah, and I want to say DeVere's kind of more known, maybe more known for the Red Cathedral and White Castle. They've had some really good games that have come out. They kind of got a lot of attention for a little bit because they were making some bangers that people really enjoyed.
Oh, White Castle! I loved that game.
Oh, that's not a hidden gem though. I think a lot of people know about White Castle. That's such a fun one. So it's the small box. It's a deceptively small box. There's a pretty deep game in it. This is probably at least it's at least right in the middle of medium weight. It might seem a little heavier the very first time you're looking at it because it's a little. I mean, you've played it with.
Yeah, we played it.
It's a little bit like there's a lot of new little things that are going on. It's like, why am I doing this to do that? You play through a game, you're like, okay, this all makes sense. It's a little weird to learn the very first time you get it out, but it's kind of I don't know.
I was surprised. Like when you were teaching it to me, I was like, oh, that's too complicated. That doesn't look like something, but I really enjoyed it, and it wasn't as hard to pick up as it would appear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once I got Ashley to sit through the rules and start playing it, she really liked this quite a bit, and so that's always a good testament to any game that it's not overly complex. She's smart enough, she can do that. She just doesn't like it. It's not fun for her to have to like overly think about it. She did not like the White Castle because of the convoluted nature of how you move things around to get your turns and stuff to go.
A lot of my friends were similar too. They don't want to. Yeah. They don't want to feel like they're studying for an exam,
There's a few areas of competition in this game where there's a little bit of area control mechanism slightly as you're going to gain some extra little bonus spirits that give you bonuses, but you don't even have to worry about those necessarily to do all right on the game. It's kind of like a little bit of a puzzle thing that you're working out on your board as you're feng shuiing your little home, but it's Bamboo. It's neat, and it does add some of those spirits into the game that were from Batoku. which are also from Japanese lore.
Okay. I've got one that's sort of part of the series. It's called Icaion. The first game in this series was Mysthia.
Yeah,
We have played that one. That's a really fun game. Like, I love the universe and I love the art. The games are all thematically tied together in this larger story. In fact, you can take Mysthia and this game, and which is inside of here, and make a third game.
Yeah, kind of like with the whole Century series does that.
Yeah, it's a tower defense game. When you play it that way, this is a pick up and deliver game, which I tend to like those. I guess.
Yeah, it depends.
Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it isn't. This one's neat because it's got there's a big giant colossus, like, and he's going around the board, and we're trying to go and investigate what's going on because Mysthia has these floating islands, and it's all because of these crystals. But we mine them and use them to do everything. Like we're over mining all the crystals, and Mysthia is kind of starting to fall and stuff. But this is us mining the crystals and stuff for eons and eons.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you play is where all the islands start to fall, and then you're fighting all the monsters off. But this is one that it's an Italian company. I can't remember their name.
Ran away on your Tabula.
Yeah, Tabula Games. Tabula Games. I like Mysthia a lot, and I'll keep it forever because I painted it. But it's got this runaway lead problem.
Yeah, it does a bit. Yeah.
Where you could be hundreds of points ahead of everybody else, and it runs a little too long to have that kind of lead. Like, maybe it should end like a turn too sooner.
Yeah, maybe a round even sooner.
This can do that, but I feel like it's less likely to. And you've got more. You've got a little bit more ability to kind of catch up when there's a problem.
Yeah, this is one that we'll have to play at some point. Yeah, I don't ever hear anybody really talking about Mysthia or Icaion or what's the third? They have a smaller card game.
Mysthia. Volfurion.
Volfurion, yeah, and that's really fun.
That's the other one that's kind of another hidden gem. Same company.
Yeah, they almost even all three of them, you could kind of put them in that category a bit because the artwork is super nice. The universe that they've built with that game is really cool, and I think kind of can suck you into playing this thing that's otherwise like kind of it's pretty unique with how it plays, and which can be a good or bad thing depending again on your tastes on games. Sometimes games are so different than other games that it kind of throws you off from actually getting them to the table.
Well, a lot of these games do seem like they've cannibalized all their mechanisms from other games and stuff like that. So they're not treading a lot of new ground, but they do it with style.
Yeah,
and it is style. It's definitely different than any other version of the same kind of pick up and deliver. But that mechanism's been done to death. They have their own kind of unique take on it, where you're running back and forth to the monsters, moving around and trying to get things from the middle of the board to the exterior of the board and stuff. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah,
Icaion.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, so I've got 4 more games, but I'm going to bring them out 2 at a time because they're made by the same company and the same like universe as well. So I call these the Troll games, and these are made by Burnt Island Games. Oh, let's get them all both out. And it's In the Hall of the Mountain King was the first one, and then they have Fall of the Mountain King as the one that was kind of the second in the series. I do believe they are eventually planning to make a third one in this series, but I don't even know if they've even released any idea of what kind of game that is, because these are both very different from one another. The idea of what you're doing, like in the Hall of the Mountain King, it's a polyomino placement game where you're going into this. It's actually like it's in the chronologically, it's the sequel to what you're doing in Fall of the Mountain King, but it's like the Troll Kingdom's been destroyed. The gnomes overran it and destroyed everything. Mountains collapsed in on itself, and you're going back and reclaiming it. So your polyomino placement are like these hallways that you're doing in order to unearth like these great halls and kind of bring back the glory of the trolls. It's got a really cool cascading mechanism of the way that you gain resources It's maybe a little more than to explain on this video, but really neatly done. A nice Euro game. Fall of the Mountain King though is again kind of like it was made after, but it's more of this prequel to that. And this is the actual fall of the mountain with the gnomes are invading in there, and you have a bunch of little trolls. It looks almost like a war game on the table, but you're all trolls, and so you're kind of working together against the gnomes, but you're trying to gain the most glory and be the best, clan that's putting that last stand before the gnomes eventually.
You're trying to die with the most honor.
Die with the most honor, and that's a big mechanic in the game, is actually losing your people for honor even too. It's got a really cool, like kind of, I don't know what you want to call it. It's not a tab below. It's the way that you do all your actions on your turn. You create this little map of like potential actions, and it's got this whole puzzle that you're kind of doing with the way that you actually link up the icons that are your actions for the turn, and add it. So it's got a fun little puzzle within the game that you're playing just to do your actions. I really love the theme of both of these. I love the Quan Chai Moria artwork that's on it. It really kind of sucks me in. I don't know which one I like better, but at any length, these games aren't ever mentioned anywhere. I know like Quackalope did some stuff over it, and Board Game Co.
I've seen this one on sale a few times, even recently.
Yeah, but never seen anybody pull it out. I've had it at the game store, I think at least once, definitely. I know I've had both of them at the game store once.
That's where we played it, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think we played both of them at the store, actually.
And we played 4 players with Fall of the Mountain King. Actually, I think, with both of them, we played 4 players. I feel like Fall of the Mountain King runs a little long, but I enjoy it the entire time I'm playing it. And we did close the store down with that one. Those are those are the Mountain King series, I guess. I don't know. Very cool stuff.
The next one I have is called the Faceless, and I think I actually have it's more colorful.
Got a sleeve.
It's got a sleeve for it. I think that glows in the dark. Yeah. The Faceless.
Oh, very unique game.
So this is a really weird one.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a little bit of a dexterity component with magnets, and and that's probably why you haven't seen this. They had all kinds of problems.
It's a strange game, yeah.
Well, they had all kinds of problems getting this delivered.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm trying to remember. Their name sounds just like another company that doesn't have problems. Does it say?
Alter Ego?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alter Ego Games. And they've tried to make like sequels and other things like that too, and even reprint, I heard. Like that their little campaign will chime in with like some update with something that they're gonna do, but nothing ever comes of it.
Yeah. Yeah. This
I remember that in the in the shipping of this, it came over like they couldn't ship them. They had to ship the magnets separately because of.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
There's some issue with that, and then I don't know if they had to assemble them there, but this sat at a port for maybe 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
Like we all knew the boat it was coming over on, and we watched it come over, and then it just sat there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if we'd ever get it. And then they finally delivered it, and the way it comes out of the box was a little kludgy. Like it was a little hard to do, and I had to kind of do some modeling in this to make the magnets sit in there just right, the way they should, and be able to put it back in the box and stuff like that. So
yeah, because the whole thing is you got this bad guy that's going around, and you're a bunch of little kids that are.
But you're represented as one compass.
Right, because aren't you involved with one character? Isn't there one character you're trying to save or something like that?
So there's a compass in the middle that represents the kid's consciousness. It's kind of like what's that story with Winona Ryder?
Stranger Things.
It's like Stranger Things. So there's this other dimension, and you guys are trying to channel your energies to find this lost friend.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got these versions of the kids with magnets in them along the side, and you can play cards to move those magnets around. But everybody's group consciousness is represented by this compass that's right in the middle of the map. And there's a bad guy, the Billy Goat, that hunts you down. That's this guy.
Yeah.
He hunts you down inside of there, and he's got a magnet in him too. So if your compass bumps into him or bumps into some terrain or something, anything other than the memories that you're trying to collect.
And you can kind of start, because there's all these polarities of the magnets that are messing with you. You can kind of learn how to move your character in a way that's going to push because the compass is going to show where it's moving to, right?
Right, so, yeah. As you move, the compass dial will move based on the magnetism that's going on, and you have to move to wherever it's pointing.
So it's got like a lot of like kind of toy mechanic in with it, of just something that you're kind of playing with in that manner, like he's mentioning, kind of sort of a dexterity thing. But you have card plays and stuff too that are helping you out, and it's totally cooperative too, right?
Yeah,
if I remember right, yeah. So you're just trying to basically get this kid to survive. It's neat. It's different. I certainly have never seen a game like that before.
Yeah, definitely a hidden gem.
Hidden gem. All right. So I've got two very hidden gems for me, anyways. You may have heard of these before. This is from the Circadian series. So this is Shem Phillips' brother, I believe, is the one, Sam, that did this. I know Shem was involved with playing it and testing it and helping, but he's not really listed as like a designer. Let's see, we got S.J. McDonald. I wonder if I know Shem's brother's part of this. So I don't know if that's a different, because I know Shem's last name's Phillips. Maybe Sam's last name's McDonald. Maybe they're half brothers. I wonder. Yeah. So these are, again, two pretty different games in the exact same universe, the exact same artwork, same kind of aliens and stuff that show up in both of them. But First Light is a dice placement game where you're kind of like the Circadians are kind of the name of the humans. They're coming onto this alien world where there's several different types of aliens that live on there. And this one, you're kind of interacting with them. You're basically just trying to get as many points as you can, but you're going to interact with them in peaceful ways. And it's just like a dice place. I guess you can kind of think of the dice as being sort of like worker placement. It's got some really neat puzzly mechanics in it, whereas Chaos Order is more of like a war game. You're definitely having a lot of conflict that's going on in this one. It's got a really, really neat action selection mechanism with it, where it'd be a little hard to explain on the video without getting it all out. But you are gonna like you have this like bid in the beginning for how expensive all the actions are going to be, and then everybody does each action together. So like research is, everybody's going to get to do research at the same time. Then people have to decide, do I want to pay for that? Somebody else jacked the price of it up on that turn. They get to do it for free because they're the one that placed the cost of it. And then the other people have to decide if they're going to pay a lot of money to the bank or money to the other person, or a combination of the two. And then that's everything that you're doing each round. You're having to decide, am I going to just skip that whole action for this round, or am I going to do it and pay for it? And then you're having to puzzle out how you're going to pay for it. But it's a lot of area control is the big thing with the game. You're basically just trying to get there's two big goals with the game, though. You have a very asymmetric kind of, it's almost like you're mixing root and scythe together a little bit. So you have a very asymmetric faction that has its own win condition that it's going for. They play out, I think, very thematically and in a very neat way that is certainly something that people are going to go for in the game. But then the game has a common win game condition, which is just to control all of the areas that have the remaining relics in it. And you're going to have 6 of them, and one's going to go away each round. So as the game goes on, the game's never going to last more than 6 rounds, but rounds do take a while. I learned this game and played it with a friend of mine that it took us like all afternoon kind of I mean, even though I kind of knew the game ahead of time, this is the first play of it. It took us like a long time. Like I want to say we were playing it for like maybe 8 hours, which is way longer than it should take to play this game. This is going to be more like a 4 to 5 hour game if you really know what you're doing. But very neat, and I've really been wanting to get it out again. But super hidden. I never heard of this game. Never heard of First Light. I was at
Was it
McKay's, and I was like, well, that looks it. I like the art. So this artwork's a little controversial for people. People either tend to like it or hate it. For some reason, a lot of people just hate the way that the aliens look. They think they look stupid. I think they look neat. It's got that same, I think it's the same kind of artwork that's on like, maybe the person that did Raiders of Scythia, but it's got a similar kind of vibe to the way that they did that kind of.
It is a little bit like that, yeah.
Defined kind of shadow outline artwork.
Sort of a high contrast technique, yeah.
Yeah, and like very portrait like, it's all these guys just kind of standing and staring at it.
It's a little bit of a throwback, kind of the art is a little bit of a throwback to kind of the older sci-fi art you'd see on games and stuff. It looks good though.
Yeah, it's really neat, and I love the fact that they just have they have 6 asymmetric factions, and these aren't lightly asymmetric. They're not as asymmetric as Root, so it's not
right
that big of it's not that
not a completely different game for every person.
Right, they're more or less doing similar things, but they all have something very special that makes them play in a very different way. So, really like it a lot. Very hidden.
My next one is hidden behind Owen.
They actually have gems in this game too.
You can leave that one. Okay. I don't think there are any gems in this one.
No.
But it's sort of a hidden gem. I don't really see much about this.
No.
They did a good job of getting this out to content creators who talked about it a lot and then never spoke of it again. So it basically kind of got delivered. And then I did one of the first playthroughs, post-production playthroughs, I think.
Yeah, it's a quirky game.
Yeah, it took we played it 3 times to get that playthrough.
Probably,
so
yeah.
I wanted to. I try at least to do the best I can to make a playthrough that won't confuse people and make it harder to play.
Mm-hmm.
I rely on playthroughs to play games myself.
Yeah.
And we did like Heat 2 or 3 times too. I never did make a video.
It just kept goofing up little things that just kind of ruined it.
It just kind of I don't want to. Okay. But this one the creator would watch. And then he kind of say, "Oh, well, you could have done this and this and this, or maybe you should have done this way." And together we worked it out. The rule book for this, for me, like it presented it in little chunks. They've since redone the rule book, and you could print it out or read it as a PDF. And I have. And it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit more like all the rules at once. Because really, this one went to scenario 3 is probably the point where you'd want to play. Everything else is like going through the exercise for like a lesser game.
Yeah.
And but this is I don't have any game like this.
No, it's very unique.
It's so different than anything else. It's got conflict, but it's very randomized in that when you fight each other, you're throwing bricks down in here, and then they have something that kind of collects the bricks and they come out. It's a little bit like Frostpunk, where you got the tower that you throw the things into and stuff.
Stuff gets caught in it and things like that. Yeah.
The rule set for this is a little steep. Like it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, dice tower built into the box here. You can see there's a hole in the top and then a hole in the front. Yeah.
It's very asymmetric. You've got different objectives and different goals and stuff. We've only played like just a couple of the characters too.
Yeah. It's kind of it's oddly chess-like the way that you play too. Like it looks kind of like it's going to be maybe like this area control kind of almost like you might battle a lot, which I guess you do. You do have fights in the game, but it's oddly to me it felt like this oddly chess-like game. Certainly very the only other people I've heard mention this one myself too, besides you and the content that you've talked about with them, is Also from the game casters, they mentioned this game. Just
What did they say?
kind of the same things, more or less. So it's pretty unique in the sense that it's like kind of hard to pick up. I think you were talking about it being kind of hard to pick up the rule set. Um, a lot of games, I think a lot of, I mean, these aren't new design. They had made some other stuff too, right?
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
made mind management
Yeah.
was
Oh,
the
okay.
was the other one they
Well,
did.
well, there you go. Yeah, a lot of people know about mind management. But I think a lot of these designers sometimes try to do like a unique way of presenting the rules that actually ends up doing the opposite of what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Like they were trying to make it easier to understand. But because it has such a unique rule set, I think because like you're doing stuff in this game that's just not intuitive to other games that you've played before. I can see that
Well,
that
because
was a
it's
little harder
asymmetric,
to
like
pick up.
no one thing applies to
Right.
this game or that game. And in fact, when you play 3 player, which you can play 3 player,
Hmm.
you're playing almost a completely different game with another whole character that just messes everything up.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's got a really neat action selection mechanism in that as well. I feel like
mm,
maybe that's one of the things that attracts me to a lot of these games is when they have like a really cool way of choosing, but we're kind of like taking them from each other, right? I'm trying
yeah,
to
yeah.
remember how
You
that
got
that'll,
those mason jars. You got to break the
yeah,
mason jars to do a
yeah.
spell and stuff, and there would be like the first person that does it in that row can get some extra little bonus.
It's got a lot of things that like I guess if you had read it was like based off a comic book that
Another
maybe
hidden gem is the comic that
yeah,
it's made from. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So you might maybe some of the stuff would make more sense to you, but it's kind of odd the first time going through, like you say, you're breaking spirit jars or something open to do your actions. It's like
It is a
it's
crazy,
kind of weird.
crazy comic book, and what
Yeah.
I think that's what limits some of these things is like I bought this and I got the PDF of the comic book came with the pledge, and that's how I read it.
Yeah.
So and it was like a compendium of the whole story because it's like a short series of
Mhm.
books. Like I can't remember how many, but it's a really interesting story. It's a really fun story. And it got me very excited to play the game.
Yeah, very
Uh,
cool. It does
eh,
say it's a game of gothic conflict. So
yes,
it's gothic kind of
like American Gothic.
American Gothic, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. It's neat. It's a cool game. Well, did you have any other ones that you were mentioning?
I have one other small one
Sure.
I meant to grab.
All right. This is one that did we get to play this?
No, we haven't
I
played
don't
it
remember
yet.
if we played this.
This is called Getaway Driver.
Hmm.
Now, this is a little tiny game that I backed. I backed this a while ago,
I feel like
and
we were gonna play this once and
yeah,
didn't.
this is one of those that, like I've meant to pull out and play with Owen about a dozen times. It's a tile placement game.
Hmm.
You can play it on anything. So the setup for it is like you just kind of give each other the components and you start playing because the car literally starts on the board with no tiles. So you place a tile and you're trying to get away from the police.
Mm-hmm.
So the police have all these like things that they can use to chase you down, but they kind of have to gather up points and get more and more little badges and stuff to pay to deploy helicopters
Mm-hmm.
and big trucks and stuff like that. And they have different rules about the way that the movement is. And the getaway driver has little bags and stuff that they can throw away and get a hold of and stuff to kind of power up a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
And that when you're playing these cards to try and move through the city and try to get away from the police. So it's a really neat. The artwork for it is really cool. It's got kind of I don't know, it's kind of jazzy. But how would you describe that?
I don't know, like 50s Vice City or something.
Yeah, really, really cool artwork and fun little meeples and stuff. I'll have to show you. I actually just printed an insert for this.
Sean got a printer recently, and he's been going to town. Been telling him for a while to get one.
Yeah, so it's got really cool little car meeples and all kinds of stuff. This was a crowdfunded thing, but I have seen it. I don't know if I've seen it in retail. I've seen people selling copies of it and stuff, but I think they're the ones that they got off there. If you get a chance to play it, though, it's really small. You can take it with you. It's a 2-player.
Yeah,
One of those 2-player kind of games.
another game that I have never heard of. So it's very hidden.
Yeah,
Check
see,
it.
if he hasn't heard of it, then no one has.
No one has.
Getaway Driver.
I only know the big games.
It's a game by Jeff Beck.
Yeah, it's cool. I like small games that you can get out like that are nice little 2-player quick games. It says what 30 to 45 minutes. So
Oh yeah, that's a fast one.
kind of reminds me of in the range of like playing Radlands or something.
Yeah, you can play it on small table areas too. You just go around stuff, pretend like they're trees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, cool, very cool. Well, that's a pile of hidden gems for you. Nice treasure load for you guys to go check out. If you haven't seen any of those games, I definitely would take a look at them because they are all quite nice. At least the ones that I know. I don't know all of yours. But
Let us know down in the comments if we tripped over something that's one of your favorites too.
yeah, check them all out. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoy this kind of content. If you do enjoy this kind of content, a couple of those free clicks on the screen really helps support out channels like mine and like Sean's. So check them all out. And thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.